This is the story of Shirley Elaine Sadlon. Her maiden name was Kraft. Although she was with us for only a brief period of time, she left a legacy through her children and deserves to be remembered by her family, friends, and her current and future descendants. It is hoped that this presentation will serve to keep her memory alive. Shirley was born on November 23, 1932 in Waukesha, Wisconsin at 12:15 a.m. at Municipal Hospital. Her parents were Gladys and Warren Kraft. She was the youngest child and only daughter in a family with four older brothers, Harvey, Bill, Warren Jr., and John. There was an 11-year difference between Shirley and her oldest brother, Harvey. Here she is at age 4. When an opportunity presented itself for her father, Warren Sr., to be part owner of a bowling alley, Uptown Lanes in Racine, Wisconsin, the family moved to Racine and to their new home at 47 Riverside Drive. As the Kraft children grew up in the home on Riverside Drive, Shirley attended Jefferson Elementary School, McKinley Junior High School, and eventually Washington Park High School. While at McKinley Junior High School, Shirley attended town-sponsored dances held in a gym at the Washington Park pool, where she eventually met her future husband-to-be, Richard Sadlon, who was then attending Mitchell Junior High School. Here's a picture of Washington Park Pool back in the 50s. Shirley and Rich started dating while at Park High School, and Rich would spend time with her and her family at the house on Riverside Drive. He would then ride his bike from his family's home on JIC Avenue to visit her. Here's Rich's yearbook photo. And here's Shirley from a page out of her yearbook. As Shirley's brothers graduated from high school, they began to marry and serve in the military. Eldest brother Harvey married Muriel Harris at a naval base in Norfolk, Virginia, while Harvey was stationed there in the Navy. Brother Bill married Jane Bumstark, and Shirley served as a bridesmaid in their wedding. Brother John was married to his high school sweetheart, Jo Melhorn. Her brother Warren Jr., who Shirley had nicknamed Junie or Junibug, served in the Korean War as a paratrooper and was deployed to Korea. He said that he received a letter from his sister Shirley at every mail call while serving overseas. After he returned in 1952, he married Carol Lee Hayward in May of 1953. Shirley was chosen to be the maid of honor in their wedding, and Rich was one of the groomsmen. New sister-in-law Jane Kraft also served as a bridesmaid in their wedding. Here are a couple of pictures of Shirley and Jane as bridesmaids, and then with some of the other bridesmaids at the wedding. About a month after Warren and Carol's wedding, Shirley was married to Richard Sadlon at the First Baptist Church in Racine, Wisconsin on Saturday, June 13th, 1953. The maid of honor was Rich's sister, Marilyn Sadlon, and the best man was Rich's brother, Jerry Sadlon. Shirley was 20 years old, and Rich was 19, and would turn 20 in a couple of weeks. Here's maid of honor Marilyn assisting Shirley. Shirley on the front porch on Riverside Drive in her wedding gown. Some remaining artifacts from the wedding include Shirley's garter and the handkerchief used at the wedding by bridesmaid Jane Kraft. Shirley with her father Warren walking down the aisle. At the altar at the First Baptist Church. And exchanging vows. Here's some rare footage of their big day, June 13th, 1953. The wedding party. The two mothers of the newlyweds, Gladys on the left and Ann Sadlon on the right. Warren Sr. is at the left of Gladys. Flower girls were Mary Jo Kraft and Kathy Kurhajic. Sister-in-law, brother Jerry's wife, Joyce Sadlon, and Rich's Aunt Mary attended the wedding. Marilyn offering some assistance. The receiving line, followed by some formal wedding photos. and then was off to the reception held at the Hotel Racine, where eventually Warren Sr., Shirley's father, would become an executive chef. Some scenes from the reception. A toast to the happy young couple starting their new lives together. Some receipts that we still have from the wedding. In 1953, the cost of the wedding reception was $800, and the bar bill was $320.15. After the wedding, the newlyweds were off to their honeymoon, with the final destination of the Wisconsin Dells. Here's some brief footage of a family party gathering. You can see Marilyn, Rich, Shirley, Sue Johns, and then Warren and Gladys Kraft. Shirley with sister-in-law Joyce at a family gathering. On the porch of the Kraft family home. And video footage on the steps of Rich's family home on JIC Avenue, along with their sister-in-law Joyce. When they returned from their honeymoon, they lived with the Krafts on Riverside Drive for a short time, and then about 2 months after the wedding, in August of 1953, Rich was drafted into the Army and was stationed at Camp Pickett, Virginia for basic training. Since they were now married, Shirley lived in a small apartment near the base. After basic training, Rich was stationed at Fort Sheridan and then Great Lakes Hospital as a medic. Rich's mother, Ann, and Shirley visited him at Great Lakes. Rich was then transferred as a medic to serve at Fort Carson, Colorado. The couple lived for a short time on the base and then moved into a motel efficiency room near the base. Not long after all the marriages of her siblings, nieces and nephews started being born. Here's Shirley with her mother and sister-in-laws, Joe and Jane, and their young children. Rich got a job as a milkman at Progressive Dairy, and Shirley worked at A&E Manufacturing. Rich would see Shirley when his route included Shirley's office at A&E. Then in the fall of 1954, Shirley and Rich found out that they were expecting their first child. Here are some pictures of the expecting mother in the spring of 1955, around Easter time. With her brother John, and a picture with niece Mary Jo Kraft, Harvey and Muriel's eldest daughter. And then on June 12, 1955, Richard Jr. or Rick was born. Here they are with Grandma Kraft. And at a gathering for Grandma Sadlon's birthday party with Jerry, Joyce, Lloyd, Cousin Jay, Sister Marilyn, Rick at 4 months old, and new mother Shirley. A couple other photos from 1956 and 1955, around Christmas. Here's some brief footage of the new mother, Shirley, holding Rick on their front porch. Soon after, on January 22, 1957, second son, Timothy George Sadlon, was born. Here are some samples of Tim's baby book records and memories lovingly documented and updated each year by Mom Shirley. Identifying marks, first visitors, Daddy, grandparents, and Aunt Jane, a lock of his hair, and notes of subsequent birthdays. Tim and Rick with Mom and Grandma Sadlon at the Milwaukee Zoo. A rare color photo of the young family in 1957. A trip to a Milwaukee Braves baseball game at County Stadium. With so many cousins, there were always a lot of birthday parties and family gatherings. Rich and Shirley were able to save money living with her parents and then purchased a duplex home on Douglas Avenue in Racine. Grandma Sadlon lived upstairs. Rick and Tim at the house on Douglas Avenue. Here's Rick and Tim on the porch of the Douglas Avenue home with their great-grandma, Mabel Kraft. noticed the frequent matching of outfits that Shirley planned for her two boys. On their bikes at the Riverside drive home. On December 26, 1958, Shirley and Rich's third son and new baby brother, Dale Warren Sadlon, was born and welcomed into the family. The young family then rented out the Douglas Avenue home and moved back into the Riverside Drive house that was being temporarily vacated by Gladys and Warren due to a new position for Warren as the executive chef at a large downtown hotel in Rockford, Illinois. A family portrait. During this time, Rich was hired at Western Publishing Company and was transferred to the Madison, Wisconsin area. The young Sadlon family then sold the Douglas Avenue house and moved to their new home just outside Madison in Cottage Grove, Wisconsin. Rick attended kindergarten in Cottage Grove. And the family got a new puppy named Lucky. It was while the family lived in Cottage Grove that Shirley, at age 28, with 3 young children, was diagnosed with melanoma cancer that resulted from a mole that she had on her back. The news was devastating for everyone, but she had an operation to remove the mole and the cancerous tissue. The doctors thought that they had successfully removed the cancer. In the summer of 1961, Rich's job at Western Publishing transferred him to the Chicago region, and the family moved to Huffman Estates, 30 Carthage Lane in Roselle, Illinois. Here they are, celebrating Tim's 4th birthday in January 1961 in the kitchen at the Cottage Grove house. And Dale's 3rd birthday at Grandma and Tony's house on December 26, 1961. The Kraft side of the family had continued to grow as Shirley's brothers and their wives had more children, and there were always family events and holidays, like this photo of a summer family picnic at Uncle Warren and Aunt Carol's house in Racine. Soon after, Shirley and Rich found out that she was expecting their 4th son and new brother, Thomas John Sadlon. But during this same time in Illinois, they also received the shocking and difficult news from the doctors that Shirley's cancer had returned and had spread throughout her body, making it inoperable. The following summer, several months pregnant with her 4th child, Shirley entered the hospital for the last time. She prematurely delivered the baby, and 2 days later, on August 7, 1962, both Shirley at age 29 and her 2-day-old son passed away at Sherman Hospital in Elgin, Illinois. The entire Kraft and Sadlon family, Rich and 3 young boys, were devastated and deeply saddened by the loss of their wife, mother, daughter, sibling, aunt, and friend. The well-attended funeral was held at the First Baptist Church on Friday, August 10, 1962, the same church where just 9 years earlier the couple had celebrated their wedding. Interment followed the funeral at West Lawn Memorial Park. Although she left us at an early age, her spirit, love for her family, and legacy lives on in her children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and all future generations. Thank you to all of the family members who contributed their pictures, stories, and memories in order to make this project possible. This memorial to Shirley, our mother, is dedicated to her father, Richard D. Sadlon Sr., who persevered through difficult times, kept his family together, and worked hard to always provide for his family. It was presented to him on June 28, 2022 in Peoria, Arizona, on his 89th birthday.